Hi everybody, please let us know if the sound is good or not. I'm gonna wait for my partner, Cortney McDermott, to join me, and she is amazing, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and mind-body expert. Courtney was gonna interview me today, and we actually. Hi Courtney, can you see me? Hello. Hi Courtney. 1 2 3, 1 2 3. There you go. Now I do have all these options with the mute and the camera, I guess because we started out from my phone. Thanks for patience, you guys. Patience, you guys. Technology sometimes does have the interference with the plans, but we know that everything works out for the best on the right timing. And I was just introducing my partner for today, which is Courtney, best-selling author and mind-body expert. Please let me know if you can hear me well.
I hear you perfectly. Do you hear me okay?
I hear you very good, and I do not hear any echo or any, interference with the sound.
Me neither. Me neither. Does anyone listening hear anything?
Okay, guys, whoever joined us, please let us know if there are going to be any sound interference. We don't want to re-record this interview again because we did it like 2 weeks ago and it was so brilliant, so perfect. Unless the sound could have been better, we would already have posted it by now, but we just cannot do a low quality content, obviously, especially Courtney as an interviewer who interviews so many amazing, interesting people. She wants to have a good, collection on her page, obviously. And yeah, I was just introducing Courtney to the crowd before you joined, and I'm happy that we finally can have a little chat.
Yes, and I that introduce you properly. Oh no, this is this on other people. Oh, but you have the mute option now. So if you mute on your end, okay, let's try this again. Yes, okay, it's gone. So then you can unmute when you're ready to talk. Yay! All right, so wow, I was so blown away when I reached out to you because I actually normally don't do any kind of I've been interested in astrology for quite a while and interested in just generally speaking the way that we're influenced by forces that we can't see or that aren't as um, I don't know, I want to say maybe tangible to us or things like that. And I've been very curious about all of that for a really long time, but I think I wasn't as openly curious. And then one of my clients who I love and adore and who's a good friend of mine now, she said to me, she's like, oh my God, okay, you have to contact this woman and you have to look into her work. And I was just saying, okay, I don't know about that, whatever. But then when I talked to you, I was so blown away on multiple levels just because you are very intuitive, but you also brought in so much science that I knew was there. In fact, I was quoting this thing from JP Morgan where he said millionaires don't need astrologers, but billionaires do. And I feel like lots of times in the circles that I've been in of people who you would not maybe expect to be as into this stuff, they're actually more into this than anybody else because it's like they know that there are so many forces controlling things that we don't have any kind of, I don't want to say control over, obviously that's true, but that our rational mind can't really get or wrap itself around. And so for me, it was really curious and beautiful to watch your process, which like I said was actually when we did the first work we did together was just amazing to me because literally you proceeded to sort of go through my vision, which nobody really knows about, almost systematically. And I thought, okay, she's really on to something. Like she really knows what she's doing. And plus I just loved your vibe. I loved your intuition and I loved your humility. And so we just had this really great setting together. And I thought, okay, I really want to bring you on for this interview series because I also want to say for a second, a moment about this interview series, because I've never really talked about it that much before. But what's inspired me to do this is women like you who maybe don't, like, you're the ones really doing it. You're not out there sort of talking a big talk, you're actually walking that walk. And so I love bringing inspirational women who really are just really doing what it is that they love in the world and what they're, I think, here to do. And you're one of those people who I feel like you're really doing what you're here to do. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about the science behind what you do, and the art behind what you do, and kind of how it melds together in this really nice. And you said something, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before I want to get this right. I had actually written it down because you said real astrologers don't predict your future, they help you create it. And I think that is a beautiful way of talking and capturing what it is that I felt when exposed to your work. So love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you for this very profound, interesting questions. First of all, nowadays you cannot really fool anybody. There is so much going on. Every morning, people are so stressed out from their phone, piling them up with the emails and phone calls and messages, and all kinds of outer world connections that they try to grab on you. People tend to lose their, their cool, their patience, and at the end of the day, what do they want? They want to go online and have a nice, relaxed time and watch something natural, genuine, truthful. It doesn't matter whether you are more of a financial minded, scientific minded person or esoteric minded. Nowadays, it's important to develop, like in complex, to see all kinds of the story. Those people are the most open-minded, the ones who constantly develop and better themselves. Why not to use an opportunity and try something new that you thought, oh, I don't believe in all this stars bullshit. But think about it. Our ancestors knew a thing or two about the way this universe and what is it woven of. When they started observation, like back to your question about the science, what's the science behind it? The science is that every night you can check it out for yourself, especially non-believers. Go out of the balcony, look at the sky. What do you see? The moon changes every single night. It's going to be different shape, and it's just one of the planets. There are so many of them. A lot of them move slower than the moon. It's probably the one that moves fast and affects our mood, the way we feel, first of all, the way we treat our family, and the way we provide ourselves with the most basic needs, like food, for example, and stuff like that. It changes every single night. It's no longer the same. The science behind it, that our ancestors were observative enough to notice that the 30 plus minus day cycle of the month is connected to 12 major segments or houses or zodiac sign, whatever you name it, it's the same essential thing. 12 different segments of life, starting from the areas ruled by Mars, which is the principle of I was born, I'm going there, I'm going for it, the action, the masculinity, and finishing up with Pisces, the very last one. I'm not going to go into detail and, describe every one of the zodiac signs. I'm pretty sure even non-believers are very familiar with the signature features, Libras are aesthetic, Scorpios are very profound, and don't mess with them, stuff like that. But also, it pains me a lot to realize that how few people actually know about this beautiful science behind it. Guys, if you watch the horoscope, what's awaiting Scorpio or Taurus in 2022, don't. It's not going to work. You're way more sophisticated than your sun sign, because that's what each and one of us consider ourselves. On the time when we're born, the sun is in constellation or the house or the zodiac of certain spectrum. This is what we identify ourselves with. But like I said, this is the only sun. There are many more planets, significant ones are nine more, but a bunch of other celestial bodies that do affect us. And back to the question, what's the art behind it? The art is to learn how to interpret every single body's blueprint. The soul formula, particular, what is this? People think it's an astrology chart. Not necessarily. Astrology chart, you can look up yourself online. find it in Google. All you need is your date of birth. The more precise and accurate the digital data is, the more precise information you're going to read about yourself. When it comes to soul formula, this one, the art of decoding has to be in. You cannot just look at it and figure it out right away. There's no information, there is no pill that you swallow and it gives you all the answers about the future. It takes an art to learn how to interpret it precisely for each and one of you. There are not a single the same person in this universe, and it's important to realize that you are absolutely unique, and that's when the art comes in. You need to understand your true nature. What will work for you with the same planets with another person will not work for that another person, because they have their own way. So when it comes to future, guys, there is no future. It's no longer, it didn't happen yet. Do you understand that it's in your power to make it happen? That's why a real professional that I do consider myself to, according to multiple positive feedback I've gathered over the years of working with all kinds of different people. When I started having a lot of guys come to me, like male, guys are usually super skeptical. They're like, what is this bullshit? Mostly their girlfriends or wives bring them to me and they're like, okay, fine. She bought me a session. I don't care about, okay, whatever. And then the guys were like, whoa, you really helped me with business. You really helped me with taking my angle to a 90 degrees or 360 and make my work even more profitable and more interesting. You deep point somehow some weaknesses I had to work on and some strengths that I totally forgot I had, and pull up a bunch of other talents and needs that I need to pay attention to in order to be more, more fulfilled, I want to say. So when male clients started to come to me, a bunch of them, then I realized, wow, I must be doing something very as a matter of fact. It's not just a starry, beautiful. I don't, guys, come on. I don't sit down with the love cards and talk about relationship all day long. Trust me. Relationship is always going to be a very important topic. But nowadays, people are more into making money. People actually want to be successful. People want to find something that drives them. People learn, and they're learning all over the world how to fall in love with themselves. And one of those ways is to absolutely love what you do. Because another saying is coming from, don't remember the name, unfortunately, but it's very wise in my opinion. If you do what you love, you do not have to work a day in your life. And then the good relationships start happening when people are complex, when people are done with themselves in a good way of this word, when they love who they are. They don't care what others think about them no longer, because they know what they're made of, and they're ready to finally break off the cycle of unhealthy relationship dynamics that mostly always comes from the person not loving themselves fully, not loving who they are and what they do. But once you realize what you want, what you're good at, you become in love with everything you do, from your career to hobbies. You radiate a special magnetic energy that, like a magnet, attracts to you just right partner. Not somebody that, oh, I give you this, you give me this back. This codependency is no longer working, if you notice. But that's why a lot of relationships do crumble. Now, only genuine, only true love. This is a new, this is a very new fundamental principle that only that's the only one that works nowadays. And lucky and happy are those people who know themselves. As if you do, you're unstoppable.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to have you mute again so that I can respond to, well, really just unpack some of that magnificence that you just dropped in there right now. I love you, Maria. So what I really love I mean, there's so much that I love actually about what you just said. But there's one point that I really want to emphasize for people listening, is the one I think we've been trying to convey since we started it, which is, oh, did you go for the glass of wine? I love it. I was gonna, I should have joined you. We were talking about that. Anyway, what I really love is this idea that your future is not predetermined. You're not standing there over this crystal ball and saying, oh, danger tomorrow and 12 hours, whatever. And this is funny because it really coincides a lot with a lot of the work that I do in terms of just human potential. And in particular, what comes up for me is just epigenetics, which I've been fascinated by for a few years now. And just this idea that, you have this library. I like to think of it as this library, this extensive, this infinite library of DNA available to you, of genetic expression available to you. And yet, because you have identified with 1% of that, it's like you have this gigantic library, but you're taking out the same book every day. That's what I like to compare it to, is if you had all this library, you could read any book and you could experience any adventure via that book, but you keep, oh, it's not wine, it's tea, but you keep pulling the same book every day, right? And so people are doing that over and over. And I know I was doing that a lot in my own life for a really long time. It's just like, this is the personality, this is the persona, right? And I think even the more you create that, the more you limit yourself as, this is what's available to me, or this is who I am. But really, you are infinite. You could take it in any direction. And I do love that about your work, because it, at the same time that it shows some of the predispositions that one might have, or the cyclical nature of how we function, which is another point that I wanted to draw out from what you said, is we are often just overriding that the basic cyclical nature of our essence. I mean, if you think about it, I think for women, it's a little bit maybe easier. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm being sexist here, but this idea that for women, it seems a little bit easier sometimes, just because we do have our cycles and we're kind of more aware that there's just different times in our cycles where don't bother us, or we love you. And we're just like, there's all this stuff going on that we sort of from a very young age have to get familiar with in terms of how our own cycles function. But this way that we have of just overriding that innate knowledge, that innate knowing that there are moments for things. There's a moment to rest. There's a moment to drive. There's a moment to be social. There's a moment to go inward. And at the same time, this other point that you brought up, and I really want to emphasize these two, is that the cyclical nature, and two, this fact that you have this whole infinite expression available to you. So in your work, I have two questions basically related to this. Maybe I'll ask you just one to start, so that we get into that and make sure we cover it, which is, how do you draw that out in people? How do you, when you're helping people in their business or their life, how do you show them these other potentialities that are available to them? Or how does it help to know this work for people when they're working with you, to say, oh, I couldn't even see that before, but now I see it as a potential for me? How does that work?
Okay, my love, I'll tell you exactly how it works. Each time the person comes to me, obviously I process the data he or she provided before, which is digital data. I'll just remind, for those who don't know, astrology is considered an exact science because it's numbers work, just like math, physics, chemistry, and the other ones. So I looked at the picture of the sky on the moment when you were born, and this is good enough for me to make all kinds of assumptions that will actually work exactly how your life played out, which means we confirm certain events that actually did happen. And I ask the person, where are they now? What are they doing? Because I want to determine how far the person is from point A, where he is currently at, and the point B, where he or she is actually going to and wants to be. I need to find out what person wants to do. And that's when all the knowledge of the planets comes to me in handy. I see right in front of me on the soul formula all the strongest points the person came here with. If you're a Scorpio or a Libra or, I don't know, Capricorn, it doesn't necessarily make you be all about those signs which they're traditionally considered. Oh, Capricorn is all about money, you know, I don't know, Taurus likes to eat, whatever, stability, Scorpio is obsessed with intimacy, whatever. No, it's not about that. It's about we need to see where were the other planets of the moment of your birth. If any of them happen to be in their own house or ruled by their own planet, it makes them automatically the strongest. It doesn't matter whether you're Libra or Scorpio. If you have 100%, let's say 6 out of 6 points of Saturn, which is the Capricorn's ruler, in your center of the formula, you're automatically going to have a lot from that sign, which will reflect not only on your entire life, it will also show how you do the business, why you like to be in charge. You're gonna possess automatically all those good qualities that, for example, Capricorn traditionally has. And it doesn't matter, like I said, you can be another sign as for your sun. And we're going to see a lot of other celestial bodies, how they intertwine between each other, which ones are stronger by the numbers, which ones are weaker. How do you love? We're going to, and how, you know, what's your money channel? How much money you allow yourself to have. We're going to look at your Venus, where it is. Very important planet for females, for women. And also it shows us how we like to create. Sometimes a lot of people make a lot of money from starting finally creating something. Did you notice the celebrities? Why are they so, a lot of them are very wealthy because they actually activate the creative channel. We're going to look at your Mars if you're a man. It's going to describe us more, you know, what are your skills? What can you do? How are you going to do it if you do whatever the business you chose to be in or whatever line of work? What are your sport abilities? You know, from back in the days when women were in the cave and preparing dinner for the family, the men were out there hunting the mammoth, and a lot of change since then, obviously, but we do have those basic you know, programs still in our mind. And that's what I like what you mentioned about the epigenetics. People think, oh, I'm genetically predisposed to be having diabetes just like all of my relatives. Guess what? You're not. It's proved. It's purely scientific. Now we're not talking about astrology, we talk about pure science. Epigenetic actually does prove that your genes can be changed. And if you program yourself, oh, I'm going to have cancer just like everybody, or diabetes, you will. But if you do reprogram your brain, and you will do a lot of other work, obviously. It's not just, oh, I just meditated and that's it, everything is good. It doesn't work like that. Even meditation, it's a lot of work. Some people who practice all kinds of spiritual practices, prayers, meditation, and a lot of other work that's available. It's called work for a reason, because you shape yourself like a sculptor shapes the piece of that material and creates the masterpiece. That's how you shape yourself, by doing a lot of work, including attending sessions like astrology, astropsychology, numerology, regressology, and there is a lot of interesting stuff available to you guys. It's just all about your desire to better yourself. If you find yourself that something doesn't work, you don't like the relationship, you don't like the job, you don't like how you feel overall, something has to be changed. If you want to be somewhere else, you got to change the ways you live.
Yeah. So I say, because actually I got a wrap now, but this has been so fabulous. I want to say, on just follow up from what you just said, it's just like play, practice, enjoy, have fun, and allow yourself to imagine and to know that there's so much available that you're maybe not in touch with as much as, but I think just the fact that you're here listening to this, you've joined, maybe if you're listening to this in the aftermath, you're here for a reason. You're here to get some of these messages. And I really hope that you will connect more with Celena, Olga's work, because it's really phenomenal. And I've just loved interviewing you. I loved interviewing you last time. I wish we had so much more. As you know, I had another thing happening about 5 minutes ago, so I'm going to hop on that. But I am just so honored that you took this time to be with me, and that everyone who joined took this time to be with us. Thank you so much. And I will definitely have you on again in the future. Now that we've figured out the tech side of things, we will do this again very soon. And if you have any specific questions, please leave for us in the comments. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for interviewing Courtney. It was so lovely to see you, and I'm looking forward for our next interview. Enjoy yourself.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao Bella. Ciao a tutti.